All right, let's go ahead and talk about what's next for your Utah Jazz. All right, so before we get into content, folks, we do want to go ahead and quickly talk about the fact that we've launched our own Jazz channel, Utah Jazz DNA. If you're watching that on this channel, really appreciate it. Thank you for finding us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. We're going to be giving away one of those Utah Jazz black jerseys that they just released this year.
Yep.
And once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers, make sure that you check that out because we will be giving one of those away. What we're doing on this channel is all things Utah Jazz. If you're watching us for our Jazz content, all of our Jazz content will be posted here first. So be sure, if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our videos that we drop on your Utah Jazz, on Utah Jazz DNA. All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about your Utah Jazz. Now, we talked a little bit about last week about how the Jazz locked up Lauri Markkanen. It was a 5-year, $238 million contract. Before we jump into that, first, what is your, now that we had the numbers out and everything, I know we positioned the video last time to make it sound like we already knew the numbers, but that didn't come out yet. So
it was unofficial.
It was unofficial
at best. Yeah.
So, but anyway, so with that said, with the numbers, everything, how are you feeling about that particular signing for the Utah Jazz?
I think signing Lauri was the best thing the Jazz could have done. Getting Lauri under contract is huge. I hope the Jazz want to continue to win ball games. Obviously, as a diehard Jazz fan, I always want to see them win now.
Right.
I think that signing Lauri puts us pretty clearly out of the Cooper flag. I don't, unless you're planning on sitting Lauri this whole entire year, we're not going to lose enough games to be in the top 10. So,
okay.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I love Lauri as a player. I love that he wants to be here in Utah. I think signing him and getting him under contract will help us attract some other players that will stay here and play with him. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a bunch of what ifs, right?
For sure.
You know, who do we sign next? There's rumors of players. You know, obviously we've signed some players that we'll talk about here in just a second. So how do these players line up, and how do they help this team actually start winning some ball games this year?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you weren't going to get another player like him that you weren't going to draft.
Nope.
You traded for him. You got him in here. He's the best player you've had on this team since the statues. Lock him up. Keep him on the team long term. Because you're not getting another one of him. He's just going to walk in.
Not a chance.
At least not that you're not going to get in a draft. So the fact that he slipped by Cleveland and Chicago, his true talent level, the fact that they didn't see it, really speaks volumes to that. So do you let him go for a couple more draft picks? Depending on when those draft picks are, I don't think so. I think it was the right move for the Jazz to do. It's time to stop doing the whole tank for draft picks. It's time.
Yeah.
You didn't do it well. You should have tanked for Victor Wembanyama. You didn't do it. You should have tanked last year. You didn't do it, at least not well enough on either one of those years. And, the ship has sailed on doing that. You want to be one of the 5 worst teams in the NBA because then you have about a 30 to 35% chance of landing a top 5 pick, which, like you mentioned on the previous video, is starter level talent in the NBA year one. So we definitely want to go for one of those and kind of see let the chips fall where they may. And who knows? Jazz may not be done yet. So we'll see. Let's go ahead and talk about some of those. Let's start with our boy, Johnny Juzang, shall we?
Absolutely.
That was fantastic. When I saw that, I'm like, yeah, Johnny's back.
I really like Johnny Juzang, and I've been a big fan of him ever since he was playing just for the Stars. I went to a couple Star games and just watched him. I mean, he was next level. You could tell he was going to be on an NBA roster someday. He plays with a ton of energy. He's a fun player to watch on the floor. He shoots the ball pretty well. He does make pretty good decisions. He doesn't, commit a ton of turnovers or anything like that. I think Juzang's a perfect addition to this, younger roster, and I think he can help grow with this team because it is really young. A lot of the players on the bottom side of that roster are in their early 20s, late teens, and Johnny's a perfect fit with those guys.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit. I love watching him play in the. He played in the summer league last year, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember correctly. Not this year, the previous season.
The previous season. Yeah.
I really liked his. He had a sweet touch, man, for his jumper. I thought he had a really nice touch.
He does. He's a good shooter.
Yeah, so I think he's a good ad. I think he's going to get some minutes with this team. At the not necessarily a starter. We'll see how bad they want to be. But I definitely really like the idea of them re-signing Johnny. He's a great guard. I think he's going to be a good fit. I like it. But with that, we waived Tavion Kinsley. With that move.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
Me neither.
Because I really liked him, especially he performed really well in Summer League this year. I thought he had a real chance to make that final roster, but this is pretty typical Jazz kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They always leave about one roster spot open for two-way contracts and stuff like that. And you think back, and it's kind of the one signing that I think of like this is the Joel Bollenboy. I don't know if you remember those days when Joel Bollenboy from Weber State was actually, the Jazz had drafted him with like the 50-something pick, and they thought he was going to make the two-way roster. They ended up not signing Joel Bollenboy, and they ended up signing a guy by the name of Royce O'Neal that ended up making the roster and obviously becoming a pretty big-time starter for the Jazz.
I guess
And has earned himself a pretty healthy contract. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if you have to go with that, you have to go with that, right?
Yep.
For sure. But yeah, we also signed some interesting transactions there on that the Jazz did. Let's go with so Drew Eubanks. I think we signed a forward, Drew Eubanks. What's your take on him?
I think this doesn't really move the needle for me.
Do you think he's going to spend a lot of time with the Jazz? Or
I think Eubanks is just a roster fill out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to pay him $10 million a year because you needed to fill some of that cap space so that you hit the floor.
Yeah.
And that was the reason they waited until the Lauri contract was signed, so they knew how much they needed to really pay this guy.
Right.
I think they probably negotiated something, obviously, but my big concern is that Eubanks plays over Kyle Filipowski.
Oh, yeah.
I like the development of Filipowski. Obviously, he's one of those players that most NBA GMs, I think, is probably at his ceiling. I don't know if they think there's a much room for growth in Filipowski, but I do think that he can become a dependable role player on this Jazz team. And I would hate for Drew Eubanks to be playing over Filipowski in any scenario.
I don't know. They did sign him on the same day they did sign him on the same day that they signed Johnny Juzang. So they did sign Filipowski.
Well, they technically signed everybody the same day.
Yeah.
Right? They made all these offers, and then everything came official the same day because they were waiting on the Lauri contract.
Yeah.
To go official, so they knew what they needed in cap space.
Yeah, which to me, I think that is the true meaning of why that would hit 238 million versus 200 million.
Yeah.
I think they really wanted to make sure they hit the floor.
Yeah.
That's something we talked about in previous
And they front loaded the contract. And if you look at all the Jazz contracts, every single one of them are 1 year. Every year after that's non-guaranteed.
Yeah, so it's very front loaded. And the Lauri Markkanen contract, if you watch previous videos, we talked about the new CBA. We break that down a lot in those videos. We don't want to go into too much here because then this video is going to be like 35 minutes long and nobody wants to watch that.
And nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, but this year what's different is that there's now a salary floor as well as a salary cap. So you need to spend a certain amount, which I believe is 219 million this year.
Yep.
Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that one. But they got to spend at least that. The Jazz were under that number by quite a large margin before they signed Lauri. To that
contract. They were like 40 or 50 under that.
Yeah, that plus these other additional signings will definitely put us in a better position to hit that minimum. I do like that we re-signed Micah Potter to a two-way contract. He's a center. That was on August 6th. I think that was.
And Micah Potter's another one of those good shooters.
Yeah, and he also spent a lot of time with us with the team at the end of the year last year. He also was on the Olympic team.
Yeah, he was on the select team.
Yeah, he was on the select Olympic team. So I thought that was pretty cool, getting the experience, getting a much more experience than Kessler did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's we already made a video about that too.
So, check that one out.
Yeah. Comments, we'll link it in the description for sure. What else you got on the Utah Jazz there?
Well, you just see that I think it was this morning they signed Mr. Patty Mills to a 1-year contract.
Yeah, I was shocked.
$3.3 million, 17-year veteran Patty Mills.
Yeah, he's been a Jazz killer with the Spurs, man.
I love this signing, dude.
He was a Jazz killer, and I'm just like, he's gonna be one of those players.
Patty Mills is just one of those. He kills everybody, man.
Yeah,
he doesn't look like he's big enough to actually contend and actually play like the level of basketball that he plays because he's a really good defender. Mm-hmm. He's a really good shooter. And he does all the stuff that you don't get stats for, man. He just comes out and plays his butt off.
So he's going to probably start at the 1, right? It's probably where he's going to start at if he starts.
I don't know if they'll start Patty Mills. I think, I don't know. You know what I mean? The fact is like, you think we still have, it's funny because of all these young guys that we talk about, we still do have Colin Sexton on the roster, Jordan Clarkson.
Right. Both of those, I think.
Keontae George.
2 of those 3, I think, are still 2 guards, not point guards.
Yeah, but Keontae is your true point guard. And I don't know.
I don't know. Not even Danny Ainge thinks he's a true point guard at this point.
But I think you're going to keep playing Keontae at the point. I guess maybe if you bring out Patty Mills, he is your true number one point guard.
That's kind of what I'm thinking with the Patty Mills signing. Is you really want to put a skilled point guard out there with Keontae to see if he's more of a traditional 2 than he is a 1.
That's a great point.
So I think that's what a big part of this signing was. I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, that's actually, realistically, they do not have a true number 1 point guard that is just a distributor, kind of a pass first. I mean, Patty Mills is a situational 3-point shooter. He takes him if he's open. He makes the right read, can shoot over top. Mike Conley-esque, right? That's kind of
for sure. Yeah.
Mike Conley's a true point guard. That's definitely absolutely Patty Mills. So that is a great point. He could very well be playing the one to kind of see if Keontae is that guy. Maybe he excels in a true 2 role. But I mean, I struggle with that because I want to see Keontae on the floor because I don't want his development to be stunted at all.
Clarkson's not going to start, and Colin Sexton's probably going to start if they don't move him before the deadline. So you'll have Patty Mills, Sexton, and then you'll have Lauri, then you'll have Collins and Markkanen and Mark.
Well, I mean, you still got Cody Williams, John Collins.
Sorry,
Taylor Hendricks.
Yeah, so the starting lineup you have will be Mills,
George.
Sexton.
Oh, you think Sexton starts over Keontae?
No, let me bounce this lineup off you.
Oh, okay.
So you got Colin Sexton, you got Patty Mills as the point guard. So point guard 1, Mills, Sexton shooting guard 2, your slasher, your cutter, and then you have Lauri Markkanen as your 3, John Collins as your 4, Kessler as your 5. That's your starting 5. You don't want JC as a starter. We proved that last year.
Absolutely.
You want him as a 6 man off the bench.
Yep.
And you also have all the other young talent. You got Bryce Sensabaugh and all these other guards that you have that you've drafted. You still need to find out if they have a role for, and you still have 25 plus bench minutes. So you can split it between those folks to see that. Is that the way they go? Or are they going to go more?
Yeah.
Patty Mills 1, Keontae 2, and then you have Lauri at the 3. Starts the game, sits for about 20 minutes between the
I
could
see Lauri. I think you probably see Patty Mills, Keontae George, Cody Williams. I think Cody Williams.
You think Cody Williams is going to start? Okay, I
do.
like that.
And then I think Lauri, 3, 4. Those two are kind of interchangeable. They're the same size, roughly. And then you start John Collins at 5.
Start John Collins at 5.
Yeah.
Kessler off the bench. Yeah, I think that's a good starting lineup. Actually, I like that one better. I do like that one better. I don't know.
And then I think Colin Sexton's probably your first man off the bench
for sure.
Yeah, I think Sexton comes off the bench before JC does. Or if you maybe you switch the 2 and then you get Sexton and Clarkson out there at the same time, it gives you a whole ton of offense, but absolutely no defense at all.
Right. True.
But you can score the ball with the best of them at that point.
Exactly. I like it. No, I think it's a good option, man. I just saw the Patty Mills sign. I'm like, okay, which way are they going with this? Is he going to be the starting point guard, or is he going to be the veteran guard that backs up whoever they're going to use? And there's a component that he doesn't even have the starting role or the backup role as a point guard, and he's just like the first option off the bench, and he's just there for a leadership role. I don't know. I really don't know how they're going to do that, but
I think Patty Mills will play.
Yeah.
I mean, being where he is at in his career, he's obviously not coming here to win a championship.
No.
I think he wanted an opportunity to get on the floor. He's in his 17th season, man.
Yeah.
He's not a young buck anymore. He's got to be in his probably mid-30s.
Probably, yeah.
Still balled out for Australia, scored 17.5 points a game.
Yeah.
Played really well in the Olympics.
It's just not the Utah Jazz without at least one Aussie on the team.
Yeah, you got to.
You got to have an Aussie.
You got to. I mean, I prefer Joe Ingles, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll you're here in our hearts, Joe. You're here in our hearts.
Absolutely.
Joe. Yeah, no, I think it's awesome, man. I just think, again, with these signings, I hate to come back to it, but we still, at this point, have no idea what the Jazz's plan really is.
What their plan is they don't have a plan.
I think they did want to go all in and sign a big name free agent, do a big trade.
There was that. And I sent you that one notification. Jazz in on Brandon Ingram. So that's my question for you. Okay. How does Brandon Ingram change this team? And does he move them to a perennial or borderline or fringe or whatever you want to call it playoff team? Because my answer is yes.
I think the league's figured out Brandon Ingram.
I think that Brandon Ingram is on the absolute wrong basketball team.
Oh, there's that too.
There is zero shooting around him. If you want to tell me that Zion Williamson is creating space for Brandon Ingram on that team, the best 3-point shooter they have is probably CJ McCollum.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. Zion, his first game on the league, he knocked down 4 threes in a row, man.
Yeah, but Zion is not a 3-point. He's not a.
I don't even know why they let him take those shots.
I mean, he'll shoot it if he's open, but he's not.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not Damian Lillard. You're not guarding him 30 feet from the basket. You're worried about him running past you and dunking it on 5 or 6 people's heads. That's your threat with Zion Williamson.
Yeah, no, I agree there. I don't know. I think Brandon Ingram, I don't know, man. He's just not a needle mover. I don't want that to be the we won the press conference type player. He's a nice piece. I don't think he moves the needle enough for this Jazz to become a perennial playoff team because we have him on the roster.
See, and I think you get really big with Brandon Ingram.
You already are pretty big.
You are.
Where are you putting him? Where are you putting him?
I think you play him at the 4 or 5. I think you play, and I think you play Cody Williams, Brandon Ingram, and Lauri Markkanen all at the same time.
Okay,
and now you've got 3 players that are all. Brandon Ingram can play defense when he needs to. Lauri is a great defensive player.
Yeah,
and Cody Williams is fast enough and big enough that he can defend the basket when he needs to.
There's just no way they're going to deal with John Collins on the roster. That $25 million contract, they're just not going to sit him to play Cody Williams. You know,
I agree, but I think this Jazz team has to be looking at their future at some point. John Collins isn't the future of this basketball team.
No,
and the fact is he's under contract. You know what I mean? Like you're going to pay him whether he's playing or not. Why not pay Cody Williams to go out there and get better and see what you have? You just used a number 10 draft pick on him. The kid has probably the highest potential of almost any player in the draft this year. Like that's not even me. That's NBA professionals saying.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Scouting professionals, the highest potential for any player in the draft this year.
Yeah, he was very talented. I love watching him in Summer League because you had hints of that, just that elite.
I get a Kevin Durant feel from Cody Williams.
Oh, here come the comments. Here we go.
He's like silky smooth, right? Like some of his shots are just, he has a great flow to his shot. He looks natural in them. Yeah, of course, this game is much faster than he's played in any college game.
Right.
Yeah, he's going to have some growing up to do, but the kid can play.
Mm-hmm.
And with Cody Williams, if Cody Williams can become half of what his potential is, and you have Lauri, and then you bring Brandon Ingram, and then you've got a guard rotation that consists of Patty Mills, Keontae George, Jordan Clarkson, and Colin Sexton. That is a whole lot of offense.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team could actually win enough games that they could at least sniff the playoffs in this upcoming season. I think so.
Okay. I like it. I don't know, man. I just there's reasons why no one traded for him. He was involved in a lot of trade rumors this offseason.
It's because they're asking too much. They're asking for they want Walker Kessler in that deal. They want somebody that they see a potential in. Those guys need a solid number 5 big man that can play defense, because what they're doing is they don't have anybody that solid on defense, and it's causing Zion to have to play on both sides of the floor, give 100% to even stop any baskets, because Zion is a solid defender.
He is.
He does play with a lot of effort on the defensive end. That's not going to be what Brandon Ingram is.
No.
So if you get a Walker Kessler who doesn't need the ball to be effective, he scores a lot off putbacks, and he does a lot of offensive rebounding. He does a lot of that stuff that Brandon Ingram is probably not so good at.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
In my opinion, I move him. See you, Kessler.
I'm like, absolutely. I make that trade.
Yeah, I move Kessler.
What are we waiting on there?
Yeah, I move Kessler. I move 3 second-round picks, whatever they want. Bring in Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was high on Kessler. I think he was first rookie season. He was almost as defensively efficient as Rudy Gobert was.
He was, and he is a good defensive player, but that's not Will Hardy's system.
No, and he's also taken
not Quinn
a huge
Snyder
step back last year.
Yeah,
huge step back.
The fact is I think that if Walker Kessler gets traded to the Atlanta Hawks, he becomes an absolute superstar.
Oh, becomes a stud.
Because for Quinn Snyder, your whole offense is ran around pick, roll, pass.
Yeah.
Dive to the basket, open layups. That's Walker Kessler's game, 100%. For Quinn Snyder, Walker Kessler is an absolute gem.
Oh, for sure.
He turned Rudy Gobert into that exact player.
Yeah, turning a defensive scheme just like with Rudy, where you just push you just drive the driver to Rudy or to Walker.
Everybody's pushed in,
Everybody's pushed into the big man to block the shot or contest the shot. Absolutely. I think he'd be a great pick over there.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like it. I just don't think when they're talking about big game hunting, I just don't see Brandon Ingram as being that. He's not more talented than Lauri Markkanen.
He's definitely not big game hunting.
Yeah.
But I think he's a piece that could move the needle for this team.
Yes, but you know what I'm talking about. I thought they're going to go into that conference. They're going to go into that press conference and acting like they got their guy. When they struck out on Mikal Bridges, they struck out on DeMar DeRozan, they struck out on
Paul George.
They went after all these players, and they struck out on every single one of them. And you look at what was given up, and a lot of it was practically nothing. The Jazz had a better offer than that. And for one reason or another, they just didn't get it done. So I'm just in your consolation prize is Brandon Ingram. That's just, to me, that's just not big game hunting and not doing it well. It just kind of shows that the Utah front office doesn't really understand the wider scope of the NBA and what their chances of lining these kind of talent is. I think
he's a great pickup. I'm in. Danny, you need some advice, call me.
Yeah, I do think he's a good pickup. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he moves the needle enough to where,
Well, yeah, I'm not saying they're going to win an NBA championship, but I think you at least sniff play. I think you win enough games that teams are happy watching the Jazz this year.
That's true. That is what's more important, actually. I would have to agree with you on that one. I do want to see more fans watching the Jazz game because, like we talked about in a previous video. By the way, thanks for everybody watching that one. The end of an era on that video. We'll link to that one in the description there. Thank you, everybody, for watching that one there. This is the last season to really enjoy the Delta Center the way it was meant to be, the way it was built. So make sure you guys many Jazz games as possible. Yeah, I'd really love for them to sniff the playoffs. I like the fact that you think they're going to get there with the addition of Brandon Ingram and their additions to the talent now, because they do get very long. It reminds me of the Lamar Odom Lakers, kind of things where you had a bunch of long players, reach players on that team that really kind of gave the Jazz fits back in the day. I like it, man. I think it's good. Yeah,
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'll be all right with it. If all we're moving is Walker Kessler and a couple of second-round picks, so I'm fine with it.
Yep.
It works for me.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. We wanted to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. What do you think about the signings as far as Walker Kessler's contract extension and the moves that the Utah Jazz have made so far this offseason before fall camp opens up? We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. As a reminder here, we did launch Utah Jazz DNA. It is a channel specifically for your Utah Jazz. All of our content will be posted here first on this channel. If you are watching this on this channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. We're doing a giveaway. We're doing a giveaway on this channel. Once this channel hits 1,000 subscribers, we'll be giving away one of those sweet new Utah Jazz black alternative jerseys. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that giveaway.
Yep. Like it, share it with all your friends. Great channel, good content.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And again, we're seeing steady growth on this one as well. So,
yep.
If you're watching this on our main channel, Utah Jazz DNA, a link to that channel will be in the description.